we sit enjoying the shade.
Hey, brother, pour the wine.
Drink the drink that I have made.
Hey, brother, pour the wine.
Tell you why.
Oh, good evening. Happy Sunday and welcome to Drinkin' the Style, brought to you by Habitation Furnishing and Design. I'm your host, Gregory Rich, and I'm going to help you kill your Sunday early evening with some booze and conversation. Tonight, we are talking about wine, making our theme song all the more appropriate since we're usually in hard booze. Our guest is none other than Tommy Byers, assistant manager at Mill Valley Kitchen and certified wine professional at the same. Tommy, welcome to Drinkin' the Style.
Greg, thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure. I love talking about wine. I've got some strong feelings on wine and very little education, which makes me a perfect person to host a radio show.
I'll teach you a couple things here.
I'm looking forward to it. Our master of spirits, manipulator of hard liquors, Mr. Dan Newkirk is with us as usual. Hello, Dan.
Greetings and salutations.
Nice. Classy. Very classy.
I'm a classy guy, you know that.
You've been working on that.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell.
You got class coming out of places we can't talk about on the radio.
It rhymes with class.
You have come up with actually a twist on a very popular cocktail at the moment, and I am so excited about this.
Well, we should probably discuss why we're doing it, but we're not going to say where we were.
Nope. Yep.
But yesterday you ordered a tequila Negroni on my reference, and it wasn't very good.
It was a huge disappointment. First, so I never thought of adding tequila to a Negroni, or to an Americano, of course, instead of the gin, making it the traditional Negroni. So you suggested it. You were wise enough not to order it. You took a look at the bartender. You took a look at the setup and said,
I ordered another beer.
You had another beer.
Yeah.
I, however, did not heed your warning, went ahead, and I had a tequila Negroni that was not very good. And what did he do wrong?
Well, he didn't use the jigger to measure out his ingredients.
No, I mean he just eyeballed everything, kind of threw it together.
Yeah, and there wasn't even a pour spout involved. It was just dump dump dump.
Yep.
Dump dump dump.
Not even pour spout.
No, just dump dump dump.
Yeah.
Over ice. It was bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
I drank it because I'm a trooper.
Yeah.
And
Can't let that go to waste.
seriously, I mean, an agave plant died for this. It would be morally wrong to just send it back.
I mean, 8 years before it actually starts producing, I mean, it lived a hard, long life. It deserved a good place in your belly.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And yeah. And sending it back, we're going to talk actually a little bit about sending back wines.
For sure.
Because it's a question that I've always had and always cracks me up. But in this case, I drank it. I just the stiff upper lip, and I muscled my way through that not very good Negroni. You're going to teach us how to make a solid tequila Negroni. So, Brett, why don't you hit us with some mixing music?
So today we're using Milagro Silver. It has some nice earth tones that really bring out the tequila's sunshine. Campari and Coqui di Torino for our vermouth. Has some nice sweet orange notes, kind of calm things down. So we're going to go 1.5 on the tequila, 1 ounce on the Coqui di Torino, and a 1/2 ounce for the Campari. Anybody that makes equal parts for a Negroni is definitely from a different era, and they need to step their game up because that's kind of disgusting.
The different era being what? 50s? This is the
Like my
old
grandparents
style?
made it like that. Like that's we've updated and we've refined things quite a bit.
It is a strong flavor, and yeah,
It's
you don't
it's
need
not for
that
everybody.
much,
It scares people off when they have an overly Campari heavy Negroni.
without a doubt.
My father drinks Campari on the rocks.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some gangster right there.
That's OG. Like he lived in Belgium, and that's where he learned, or that's where he caught on that.
It was the whole concept. You know that in the James Bond books, James Bond would drink Campari on the rocks when he went to a cafe or something where he didn't think he'd get a decent martini. Not a bad strategy.
Yeah.
I also noticed you said the sweet vermouth that you've chosen is the Coqui?
Coqui di Torino.
All right, because that is key. I find so many people use basically...
Well, when you walk into a bar and you see sweet or dry vermouth on the rail and not in the refrigerator, don't order anything with vermouth.
And that was your immediate as soon as you reached for that, because you've said that in the past.
Yeah,
As soon as
like,
that bartender
big old
reached down
nope.
there,
Why is that, Dan?
It's a fortified wine, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
goes
Well,
bad.
it makes
So why
sense.
don't you tell me that?
I mean,
Tommy?
I understand that, but I mean, if you
Our
burn
listeners don't understand.
if you burn through it fast enough, then
Yeah, which nobody burns through vermouth that fast.
oh, if you make a lot of old fashions, Manhattans, and Negronis, and
Well, you start putting vermouth in your old fashions, we're gonna have to have a talk about
I'm just
that.
saying.
All right, it's fight night here on Drink in the Style. 3 men enter, 2 men leave, and I get completely loaded. All right, it's got, we've mixed, stirred rather than shaken, of course. Now, another interesting point, my wife actually prefers to have a little bit of club soda in her Negronis, which technically makes it a Negroni highball, correct?
Correct.
Excellent, thank you for leaning in on that. Oh, it looks beautiful. And how are we going to garnish this drink?
With our mouths.
Really? Would you not normally use an orange?
No orange?
Sometimes I add an orange, sometimes not. The orange, sometimes add a bit of a bitter note to it, and it's already a bitter enough drink. Again, I don't add bitters to this drink because the Campari is already bitter enough. The orange is more for show.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, these are such strong flavors. Even if you express it over the top, you're not going to get as much as you would off of a different drink. Sometimes, again, as you've heard me say, less is more.
Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. It looks great. It looks absolutely great. The color is solid. We've got these distributed. So I'm so excited. And I've been drinking tequila already all day today. So
All day? All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to do Bloody Marys at the showroom, and we only had enough Bloody Mary mix for a single one. So I, being the fearless leader that I am and the guy who does the hard work, decided that I would just have a shot of tequila and everybody else could have the Bloody Mary.
Yeah. So you have a bar in there?
Oh, yeah,
You
he
got a
does.
little, like, man cave going on?
I do. You need to
cool.
swing in and see
I do.
my office.
I do.
Listeners, also, if you ever want to swing into Habitation, my office is in the back. I am always welcoming guests who can come back. I'd be happy to show you a very nicely stocked bar.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Of course, chances are I'm going to make you just drink a shot, just because I'm too lazy to go and get ice and mixers. But luckily, I got good booze. All right, this is delicious. How would you describe the difference between this and what's the fundamental flavor impact of tequila versus gin, aside from the obvious?
Well, I mean, depending on what kind of gin you use, because the gin kind of runs the gamut, whether it's botanical forward, whether it's citrus forward, whether it's juniper forward, or the tequila just has that earth, that dirt, that good dirt.
That's a great way of putting it. You're right. It definitely. Folks, everybody's drinking Negronis these days. It's really, really popular, and I think that's a really good thing. But you know what? Throw in some tequila. This is a major change, and this really is perfect, especially for summer.
It does step the cocktail game up, though, because it's booze on booze on booze.
Yeah.
So it definitely hits home for those that don't drink very much.
Yeah.
But I think we're all going to be fine at this table.
Oh,
Yeah.
if we can't do it,
It's not my
nobody can
first
do it.
try.
All right, Tommy, random question. Segment 1, we usually ask a random question. First, are you a handy guy?
Yeah, I consider myself somewhat handy. I fixed my car the other day, and
Is that the thing? Because that's the question. What is the last thing that you fixed?
I fixed my AC.
really?
my
You fixed
car.
an AC?
Yeah, so I
Just after the heat wave. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's why I did it.
Right.
Recharged the AC. I think something with the levers is wrong. Me and my dad do all the work in my car. I drive a Volvo 1992 Volvo wagon with 300,000 miles on it. And
I actually like that.
yeah,
That's
I've
awesome.
had it since college, and
away you're going.
I still cruise in it, man. I love it. You can put a dog in there, 4 dudes, and my bike, and I'm good.
Of course, to fix that AC, that's old school. You got to do the old Freon that they would come through.
Yep, and you can go to the hardware store and just go get a charger or like a AC or the auto parts store and get the AC charge for it. And
Love it.
Pretty
All right.
straightforward, yeah.
Auto repair and Negronis.
Yeah.
Come on back. We're going to be talking about wine in a second.
Don't need to worry. There'll be days like this.
Habitation Furnishing and Design is simply the best furniture design studio in the Twin Cities. What is a furniture design studio? It's a place where you'll find professional interior designers who are there to help you select the perfect furniture. A single sofa or an entire home. Our designers love making spaces exceptional. When you're shopping for furniture, it makes sense to talk to a professional. Habitation Furnishing and Design, 4317 Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park. Did you know that Habitation Furnishing and Design has the area's largest selection of noir and CFC furniture? Are you familiar with them? I once had a customer describe noir as a cross between Restoration Hardware and Beetlejuice. I love that. And CFC, bench-made furniture out of the heart of California, is definitionally cool. In any event, check out the lines at noirfurniturela.com and then swing into the store and check them out in person. Habitation Furnishing and Design, 1 mile east of Highway 100 on Excelsior Boulevard. This is Gregory Rich, founder of Habitation Furnishing and Design and host of Drink in the Style every Sunday at 5 p.m. You know, I'm often asked what kind of furniture Habitation offers. Now, I can go two ways with this. I can say something like, Habitation specializes in warm, modern, raw, industrial, and organic contemporary home furnishings. But what does that mean? It means that we have some really cool stuff, and that is the answer that usually goes over better. But cool doesn't mean crazy. And I'm proud to say that everything we offer at Habitation is functional and comfortable. The type of furniture that will allow you to express yourself but still works every day. So there it is, Habitation Furnishing and Design, 4317 Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park. It's the Twin Cities' best furniture and design showroom.
That's life. That's what the people say. You're riding high on April, shot down in May. I know I've got to change my tune.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Drink in the Style. 1 hour conversation about art, architecture, and anything aesthetic. And this week, we are talking casually about wine. Which is a great subject. And we're being entertained by Van Morrison, by the way, which is, who knew that Van Morrison covered That's Life? I mean, it's a great tune, isn't it? Tommy, you a Van Morrison fan?
I am, yes.
Excellent.
I actually listened to it with my mom as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, she got me into it.
Good for her. You're a solid mother then.
Yeah, we used to jam in the car, and yeah. It was my
Enjoy.
first jam sesh with Mom.
Really?
Yeah.
My grandmother used to play Jim Croce. I can remember. She had this red, I don't remember what it was necessarily, but this red subcompact car in the 70s with black vinyl interior. Hot as hell, but
Yeah.
she used to blast, or not blast, but she used to play Jim Croce and a good deal of Paul Simon, which was still to this day some of my favorites. Dan, what about you? What did
We
you
did a Paul Simon, didn't we?
I think I have put Paul Simon on the show.
I had a fine blend of, my grandmother made me listen to George Jones, who I think I've said before in the air.
No.
He makes her teeth sweat, and both of her teeth are false, top and bottom. And then my mom was into the big hair bands, so I just rocked the hell out to Bon Jovi.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
That's awesome. George Jones is a realtor in Minneapolis named George Jones. He's got a house listed down the street from me. And every time I drive by it, my kids can't stand it anymore. No one knows what goes on behind closed doors. And they just roll their eyes.
I'm more of a I stopped loving her today kind of guy.
Really?
Just want to get sad.
Aw.
Yeah.
All right.
That's too
Speaking
bad.
of sadness, let's talk about wine. Let's talk about wine. Tommy Byers?
Some juice.
Yeah. First of all, you are a certified wine professional,
Yep.
correct?
Yep. Certified wine professional, WSET Wine Spirits Educational Trust, level 2.
Okay. Don't know what that means.
Currently, it's a group that basically it's a certification that you get for your knowledge of wine, tasting, pairing, things like that. And currently working on getting my certification for sommelier.
Fantastic. How do they do it? What do you start with? I mean, is it all academic to begin with? Where does wine come from? This, that?
Yeah, it's kind of a self-study thing. You got to really be passionate about it, and then you find kind of small groups and then little classes. And fortunately, St. Paul College actually offers the wine certified wine professional and WSET
Okay.
classes and courses. And you start basically, what is juice? How is it made?
Mm-hmm.
What is fermentation? Whether it's with yeast and how alcohol is made, just like liquor.
Nod
then
to
it-
Newkirk.
Yep, which is
Yeah.
new to him, I guess. Yeah. So then you go into different varietals and regions and terroirs, they say, sun, soil, oceanic influence, all the different nuances of what makes something taste the way it tastes.
Okay.
The amount of studying that goes into like any wine program, if you want to advance, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, seriously.
Especially when you get into regions like that are very in-house, like Italy. Like, oh, gross.
Yeah.
Like my brain hurts trying to think about figuring out viticulture and where it comes from, and
Viticulture
it's insane.
Viniculture.
Yeah,
all that.
I give so much respect to anybody who does the wine stuff because I don't have the attention span for that. I just don't.
No doubt.
There's so much out there, and
And it's constantly changing.
It's changing, and what I always get a kick is when you drink this vintage. Let's say it's 2013. It's a Pinot Noir from Burgundy or Willamette Valley or California, and you drink it, and it's the last one on the shelf. You're never gonna drink that ever again. But a cocktail, you can pull out a cocktail list and remake that cocktail every single time.
So it's an experience that cannot be necessarily repeated.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
A fleeting moment
Yeah.
on the palate and in
Because
time.
every vintage will be the same.
And
A wine of a certain vintage.
yeah. And everything could be different. It
Shout
could
out to
be,
Catherine Lehman, Stephen Vincent Design.
and it could be different every year. Whether there's a fire, like the fires of 2017, they made some of the wine taste smoky. Tastes like charred barbecue. People like that. They get a kick out of it. It's different.
Where was the fire?
That would have been in California. I believe it was in Southern California or Northern California.
All right, so I had this laid out as a question later on. We're going to jump into it now. So, all right, so you know that if you're looking at a wine list and in 2017 from that particular region, if you pull a particular wine, you're going to get that smoky flavor, correct?
Yeah, yep. And
what was the region?
it would have been California, and I might be mistaken whether it was Northern or Southern California, but
Okay, so that gives you kind of the start. Because here's the thing with wine lists that we're going to run down through is, it is a random collection of numbers, names, and regions to most people.
Yeah.
And yet that is not the case. You can actually start to make broad decisions based on what you're seeing in front of you, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's a foreign language to most people when you look at a wine list. And to really make it accessible to the general public and your guest, you have to work with them. And me being a wine geek, I can look at really anything and know where it's from, who's producing it, what vintage, and was that a good year. Not everyone can do that.
Like example being in the wine world, 2007 Cabernet from California is like one of the most heralded vintages.
Yeah.
Like in like the early 2000s.
Is it?
If you come across one of those, like big dingling swinging, it's a good one.
But it's
Yeah.
going to cost you, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and each vintage is different.
If it hasn't been drunk before.
Yeah, if it's not all gone, and
Yeah, it's probably
sometimes
gonna
you
be
come across a list and it's on there and it's a gem, and you're like, I'll take it,
Like sometimes you'll find people that don't know what they have in their inventory, and you come across, you're like, I'll take one of those, please.
Interesting. What about, all right, have you ever looked at the app Vivino?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right, what are your thoughts on Vivino?
Well, I'm currently ranked 400 in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Me and my friends, we challenge each other.
You just gave him a wine boner. That's funny.
That's a technical term? Yeah. Is that on the
boner?
sommelier
Yeah.
test?
Sure.
I'm a huge fan. I mean, it's great. For folks who don't know,
Yeah.
Vivino, Vivino, available as an app on
Free
iTunes, and it is free.
Yep.
You can take a picture of either a bottle or a wine list, and then it will read that. It takes a few seconds, but it's going into the cloud, and then it's going to give you an evaluation of each of the wines that you're seeing in front of you.
Well,
So
that's
you
cool.
stand by it, right?
I stand by it. Yeah, I categorize all my wine, not all of the wine I taste, but about 75%. It's great to look back to see when you tasted it, what vintage, and your notes. And I use that with tasting with general education for my staff. So I'll use that. I'll flip through and be like, oh yeah, I tried this a year ago and it was a different vintage. So let's try this vintage and see if anything really changed. Also, it's really good just to, sometimes they change the art on the bottle so you know what they look like. And, then I've had their Chardonnay, but I haven't had their Cab or things like that. So it's a really useful tool to have fun with. You can also then see what liquor store sells it, how much it costs, who rated it at what, how many stars they gave it, and then what kind of flavors you're looking for. Whether you're looking for something that tastes like potting soil, leather, and smoke, or you're looking for something that's boisterous red fruit like blackberries, blueberries, cherries, and chocolate, so.
It's true, and you can do a search, and then you can also you can put in the flavors that you particularly are shooting for within an area. I have a great concept for a liquor store, by the way, based on Vivino, where all you do is just walk in, press the flavors, and a bottle of wine pops out at a price point.
Yeah, or it tells you what area to go, where in the liquor store. That might be cool.
Done. All right, we're going to hit another break and then come back and talk more about wine, some tips, and some ways to decode the whole wine menu. Stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Drinking the Style.
That kids are going to ground. Get some heavy rest.
This is Gregory Rich, founder of Habitation Furnishing and Design and host of Drink in the Style every Sunday at 5 p.m. I'm often asked what kind of furniture Habitation offers. Now, I can go two ways with this. I can say something like, Habitation specializes in warm, modern, raw, industrial, and organic contemporary home furnishings. But what does that mean? It means that we have some really cool stuff, and that is the answer that usually goes over better. But cool doesn't mean crazy. And I'm proud to say that everything we offer at Habitation is functional and comfortable. The type of furniture that will allow you to express yourself, but still works every day. So there it is, Habitation Furnishing and Design, 4317 Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park. It's the Twin Cities' best furniture and design showroom. Did you know that Habitation Furnishing and Design has the area's largest selection of noir and CFC furniture? Are you familiar with them? I once had a customer describe noir as a cross between Restoration Hardware and Beetlejuice. I love that. And CFC, bench-made furniture out of the heart of California, is definitionally cool. In any event, check out the lines at noirfurniturela.com and then swing into the store and check them out in person. Habitation Furnishing and Design, 1 mile east of Highway 100 on Excelsior Boulevard. This is Gregory Rich, founder of Habitation Furnishing and Design. I have a philosophy. Furniture should be beautiful, but if it's not comfortable, it's not much use to anyone. That's why at Habitation, we work hard to make sure that the furniture we sell is stylish and functional. Unique and useful. What more can you ask for? Habitation Furnishing and Design, 4317 Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park. It's the Twin Cities' best furniture and design showroom.
Can you brush his shoes? Stand before the mirror. And you call me here. Grab your coat and laugh. And you walk West Street's trying to remember. Otherwise, not breathe us in your memory ever. And every
Welcome back to Drinking the Style Sunday. Right now, 5 p.m. here on AM 950. You may be listening to us on a podcast, and God knows what time it is and what you're doing, but we're happy that you're here, and we're also happy to have a certified wine expert. Is that the proper term?
Yeah, that works, yeah.
Tommy Byers from
Spot on.
Mill Valley Kitchen, and Dan Newkirk from Mercy Mill Valley, and Benedict's and Wyzetta. We are talking about wine and the details therein associated. So, all right, before I forget, and I've talked about this on the show before, and I'm going to make people listen to it again. I have a very complicated relationship with wine. Actually, I don't. I have a very simple relationship with wine. I like it, and I'll drink it, and I will not complain as a general rule. But I did once have my nephew, Alex, who is, by the way, an attorney right now in New York City. I was just talking to him. Listens to the show all the time. So big shout out to you, Alex Rich, bankruptcy lawyer in New York City.
May I never need to call you.
Yeah.
I know. I was
What's
so
up?
pissed off. I encouraged him to go to law school. I urged him to go to law school for self-interested reasons. And, you know, the more lawyers around me, the happier I generally am. My wife's a lawyer, or my daughters may be lawyers. I needed Alex to be a lawyer. But I expected, criminal law. I need something useful. It would work. And instead, he chose bankruptcy law. But he did say to me, it was actually kind of funny, he was saying, it's just a matter of time, Uncle Greg. Soon it's going to start raining money. And it will. But he once called me back when he was, I think, a student or what have you, and he asked me for a wine recommendation because he was going out with a girl and he wanted to impress her, and, what do I order?
Typical, yeah.
And I said, young man, I will give you the best wine advice you will ever get in your life. Drink whatever is put in front of you. The worst thing you can do is develop a palate for wine before you're 50 years old, because it will steal from you your ability to enjoy whatever happens to be on the table, and it will drain your bank account. Enjoy it as long as you can, and when you're 50, learn good from bad, because then you can afford it. Tommy, I'm going to guess you disagree.
I'm on the fence on that one. I like to drink good wine, but you got to find a good deal on it. There's good deals on reasonably priced wine as well. It doesn't have to be a...
But just as a general person going out to eat,
Yeah.
Like as a customer, not everybody, has your background, your knowledge,
Sure.
or your access to awesome stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and like going out, you don't have to drink a vintage 1976 from Burgundy or Bordeaux. You can drink a 2016 for $20, and it'll be just as good as anything else.
Okay, so let's hit it up. Let's just go for the jugular on this.
Yeah.
Somebody sits down at a table. They look at the wine the wine list. All right. If you're spending, let's say, a retail bottle of $15 wine, which would otherwise cost $45 at a restaurant, no offense to you guys in the restaurant business, it's 3 times markup. It's cruel, it's inhuman, but it's industry standard. I won't hold you personally responsible. What are you specifically looking for? What is the best year to start with for a $50 bottle of wine on a wine list? What is the region you're looking for? What's your best bet? Give some general advice.
So, general advice for me, and when people ask me that, and they ask me all the time, it's food and mood. What are you eating, and what kind of mood are you in? Are you just doing a patio pounder rosé, something from Provence or something from California?
And wait, rosés. Best years for rosés.
Rosés are a drink, kind of a drink now, or you got a couple years on them. There's really no aging. I mean, you can age
Young.
them, but it's a young juice. They're meant to be drunk.
Love it. Start off
Kinda
right
like-
there. A rosé, just get something relatively fresh.
Just put it in your mouth.
Just fresh and good patio pounder juice, as we would say. And then, like, let's say you're doing a steak, then you're looking for me, I'm looking for a cab or something with tannins and a bite. And then what kind of mood am I in? Am I cocktailing? Then if I'm cocktailing wine, which 90% of Americans do, in France, 10% of the French do.
What do you mean?
They drink wine to eat. It's like food to them. Here in America, we cocktail wine, where we drink it just to have something in front of us.
Like here's a whole bottle. Cocktail hour.
Yeah, and we're just drinking it. We don't even have to eat food. It's what we do.
Most
We're
people
just-
don't eat food with
yeah,
wine.
they're just like drinking it. But in France, it's like they got bread and olive oil and cheese and
The accompaniment.
It's part of life. It is what you do it for lunch. You do it for dinner, and you do it with family. But anyways, whole nother subject. But yeah, for me, I mean, it's all about what mood I'm in, and then what grows together goes together is always one of my mottos. So if you're eating like let's say cattle from California, you should be drinking some very nice Cabernet or something, It's
Hey,
like,
that's kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
you're going to pick a region based on where the food maybe is.
yeah, something like that. Or, if I'm drinking Sauvignon Blanc and I'm eating a tropical salad, there you go. You got New Zealand wine with a funky tropical salad, and then it goes together. Just works perfect.
Interesting. There's this weird. All right, I'm gonna. Well, you know what I mean. I'm gonna do it anyway. There was this period at a restaurant not far from where I live, called I will bleep it out. S blank ASSO. And for a period of time, they had this thing where whoever was managing or whatever it was decided that they were going to constantly recommend a particular counter-recommend wines to you. So for like a period of like 3 months, whenever I would order a wine, the server would always offer me a different wine. And I was like, you don't even know what I'm planning to eat. You don't even know what else is going on, but you're recommending something based on what you particularly like. It makes no sense whatsoever. I will, by the way, give that particular restaurant a huge shout out because they also have a liquor store next door, and they allow you,
You can
to
buy the liquor and go over.
buy the wine next door with no corking fee, and then their wine list also is based on not that I'm saying,
On the liquor store.
yeah, run through it.
But that's smart. It's smart business.
It works. It works. They also have a great kids menu. But anyway, so back on the wine overall. So let's say you like cabs. Give me the best year for a $50 on the liquor store menu, $50 bottle of wine. That's a Cabernet Sauvignon.
I'd say 2009, 2012. You can find it for
2009 to 2012 or
No.
09 or 12?
just those vintages for me.
in California based?
California
or?
based. Every region is going to be different. Whether, again, like, for example, the fires, or there was a drought, or there was a hailstorm at the end of a harvest. Things like that really kind of beat wine up and make each vintage different and good. And some people are looking for something a little funky and off, not so fruit forward. So it's all about palate. In the end, everyone's palate's so different, whether you're a non-taster, a taster, or a super taster, and that's really what it comes down to. For me, I'll try a wine. I may fall in love with it, but I'm always gonna like it. I'll appreciate it. I'll appreciate the hands, the thousands of people that had to pluck that grape, smash it, put it in a barrel, look at it for 2 years before they could even try it, taste it, and before they can even bottle it and enjoy it.
And it is about the hands,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like, all right, tell me if this is true. So, $2 Chuck, Charles Shaw, not $3 Chuck. Inflation, what can you do?
Yeah.
Part of the reason it's so cheap is that they use threshing machines to harvest their grapes. They're pulling in the birds' nests, the weeds, everything else associated with it.
The guts, the insects, the ugh.
Exactly, the pure nastiness. Is that the case? Is that why oftentimes wines have a certain price point?
Yeah, and it's all about handling the grapes, the way the grapes are handled. A lot of really high-end vineyards and winemakers use, they call it gravity flow. So there'll be like 6 levels. And on the top is where the grapes go in, and they do natural gravity of crushing the grapes. The juice goes in here, sits in here, ferments, and it goes all the way through. And there's no machines pumping it. And now as the machines pump the grape juice, it loses complexity and flavor, and it beats up on the juice. And it's natural self. It changes a little bit.
Which makes sense because there's it's truth. That's math actually. That's
All right,
quality
so
math.
funny segue. It was NCAA this year, and we got a phone call ahead that we're gonna have a special celebrity in house, and we didn't know what she was, he or she, and in walks Jessica Alba. Like,
Really?
gosh, she's just as beautiful in person as she is online. And she walks in, she goes downstairs to the library bar, and she's sitting there for a little while. Everybody's kind of meeting up with her, and her manager comes up to me. She's like, "She'll take a cab." I was like, okay. So I went and got her a car from the front desk because we do a car service for her, and the car sat outside for an hour, and I was like, who the hell does this woman think she is? All the while, he was ordering her a Cabernet.
Yeah, take a cab.
Yeah. I was like, she'll take a cab. I was like, God damn it.
Jesus.
Sorry, that was my funny segue. I fucked up.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame. Jessica Alba is absolutely
Gorgeous.
beautiful. And I got to say, by the way, not to get all Trumpy on this thing, but my daughter, Sophia, looks a lot like Jessica Alba.
Wow.
I declined to comment on that.
Yeah. No. She's got that same really beautiful Mediterranean look. It was wonderful. Love you, sweetie. Don't worry. Other questions do I
Another
have?
educational note, Cabernet Sauvignon is that the child of Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. So when they blended those two or made those two, and they put them together, they made Cabernet Sauvignon, and it blew up.
a white grape and a dark grape got together and they made something special. That's nice.
The old days, they'd have called it a mulatto wine.
Wow.
We're going to have to cut that out, Brett. No, I'm just kidding. We can leave it in there. Let me ask you a question about tasting wines, because this always cracks me up. The pouring of the sample wine, the taste wine, right? Everybody goes through it. You pour it in. In most cases, I say to the server, just pour it.
Yeah.
I don't do that taste because, you know what? If I'm going to send a wine back, it's got to be really, really bad.
Sure.
But why the little sample? Like if you seriously poured a glass.
Corkage. That's what it's all about. It's about corked bottle, whether it's volatile acidity or sulfur or air got in there. And essentially what that little sample, that little taste is to make sure that the bottle is fine.
But whether you
1
pour
out
a
of
whole
12
glass,
are bad. So.
Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. So, all right, wait. So you pour the little tiny sample, and it turns out to be a rancid wine.
Sure.
It's gone bad. It's acidic.
Very slightly off is what would happen.
Would it really make a difference if you had poured a whole glass of wine and I tasted it? Do you really have to go through the rigmarole?
You don't. I guess the whole glass, I mean, you're going to taste it, smell it, and then you're going to know it's off right away.
Right?
For the most part. I was at a tasting last night, and I tasted probably 30 wines. 2 of them were off.
Okay.
And we knew right away. We pulled the cork, and we kind of looked at it, and you can look at a cork and see it's kind of funky.
I go by the feel.
Yeah.
I don't go by the taste. I roll it around my finger. I see if it's crumbling, if it's oily. I love it. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about sulfites, 'Cause sulfites are a big deal these
Yes, they are.
days.
I'd love to talk about it.
Awesome. Drink in the style. Go get yourself another tequila Negroni and join us back here in just a few minutes.
Skipping and a jumping in the misty morning fog with our hearts thumping.
This is Gregory Rich, founder of Habitation Furnishing and Design and host of Drink in the Style every Sunday at 5 p.m. You know, on the radio program, I often say that life is the big stuff, but living is in the details. The furniture in your home may be details, but that's where you do the living. So why not speak to one of Habitation's design professionals about making your space the best it can be? Habitation, 4317 Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park. Did you know that Habitation Furnishing and Design has the area's largest selection of noir and CFC furniture? Are you familiar with them? I once had a customer describe noir as a cross between Restoration Hardware and Beetlejuice. I love that. And CFC, bench-made furniture out of the heart of California, is definitionally cool. In any event, check out the lines at noirfurniturela.com and then swing into the store and check them out in person. Habitation Furnishing and Design, 1 mile east of Highway 100 on Excelsior Boulevard. This is Gregory Rich, founder of Habitation Furnishing and Design and host of Drink in the Style every Sunday at 5 p.m. You know, I'm often asked what kind of furniture Habitation offers. Now, I can go two ways with this. I can say something like, Habitation specializes in warm, modern, raw, industrial, and organic contemporary home furnishings. But what does that mean? It means that we have some really cool stuff, and that is the answer that usually goes over better. But cool doesn't mean crazy. And I'm proud to say that everything we offer at Habitation is functional and comfortable. The type of furniture that will allow you to express yourself but still works every day. So there it is, Habitation Furnishing and Design, 4317 Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park. It's the Twin Cities' best furniture and design showroom.
Well, it's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance neath the cover of October skies. You know the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breeze.
You know,
that's
on Drink in the Style,
Yeah, I'm
we play
trying to
such good
please
music
the
that honestly I have a tough time breaking into anything. It's wrong of me. I should be a disc jockey. Do you agree, Brett?
I think so, yeah.
Thank you.
A
Thank you
DJ?
very much.
Yeah.
I should. You're listening to Drink in the Style. We have been speaking with Tommy Byers from Mill Valley Kitchen. We've been talking about wine. We've been talking about booze. We've been talking about all different things. But before I forget, Tommy, Mill Valley Kitchen, any wine specials? Anything going on?
Yeah, you know, we do half-price bottles of wine every Monday night.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been a kind of a good hit. The list has about 90 bottles on it, and anything from $40 to $120 is half off.
All right.
So you're getting deals that are even better than at the liquor store.
Good for you.
So
Good for you.
it's all about getting butts and seats.
And if I have to ply you with wine, I'll do it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, it's a great thing. That's kind of like Mondays tend to be half-price wine days at various places because that's the slow day at restaurants, right?
Yeah, it kind of tends to be date night or half-price wine, something going on, you know, whether it's a special, you know, date night fixie coursed out meal or a special on wine. Every single day, by the way, I do have a special wine that we do, whether it be white or red, by the glass and by the bottle.
Really?
At Mill Valley, yeah.
So, I mean, because for a while you had like $5 lunch bottles, or glasses rather.
Yeah.
Bottles.
Yeah. That'd be great. Lunch bottles? Yeah, please. Where do I sign?
Seriously, I would just show up every morning. Here I am. Let's
Yeah.
start work. All right, let's talk about sulfites because sulfites are a huge deal. People don't understand them. I don't totally understand because Europe has them or doesn't have them. America does. Tell us everything we need to know.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not an expert, but, you know, in the wine world, sulfites are pretty much in anything. You find them in apples and orange juice. It's a natural occurring thing. When people say, oh, you know, I try not to drink red wine because it has sulfites, you know, white wine has sulfites too.
Really?
What
is a sulfite?
It's basically sulfur. I mean, I'm not a scientist on this one, but I do believe it's a form of like a salt.
Okay.
What it does is it gives people headaches, and people don't like it, and it's got a bad rep.
So why sulfites are to wine as MSG is to Chinese food?
The best thing ever.
Yeah,
but no, it's different with wine.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it in that perspective, I guess something like that.
Sulfites don't make wine taste better. They preserve them and make them last longer.
Yeah,
whereas
it's more
MSG is
preservative, like
glorious.
salt, like it's a preservative. But nowadays, a lot of winemakers and producers, they do not use sulfites. They don't add any sulfites, but they do have to put on the back of the bottle that there's natural occurring sulfites.
So, all right, okay, great. You hit it on the head. So, naturally occurring sulfites, you can't get away from it. It is a byproduct of the winemaking process or what have you.
It is what it is, yeah.
But then you add additional sulfites. And in
do.
America, is it required? Someone once told me that.
I don't know the actual American rules because we kind of do what we want because we're America.
Yep.
You know? But in France, I do know that there is rules on that, and where I believe they do not add any sulfites. It is going to be natural. It's natural yeast on the outside of a grape, natural, surroundings, vegetation that grows around it is going to add some different, flavors and sulfites. For instance, histamines are what give people headaches. Everyone thinks that a lot of people think that sulfites are what give them headaches. It's actually histamines is for the most cause of that.
Really?
And that's what would be in red wine.
Is it listed or is it just assumed?
It's not listed on the bottle. People just assume that it is because it does say it contains sulfites.
So what if you took an antihistamine before drinking the wine?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't get headaches from wine anymore.
I'm beyond that.
Sounds like some R&D coming up.
I'm above and beyond on that one. But yeah, so that's kind of the gray zone in that. And then, the other thing is at Mill Valley, we do organic, biodynamic, and sustainable winemaking practices. What people don't understand is that, for the most part, all of those grapes are naturally organic. Now, it's the winemaking practice, whether it's sustainable, where they don't add any sulfates, where they just use the water on premise, where they just use the soil on premise. They're not bringing in truckloads of beautiful soil from another county or state or country. Organic is where they use basically they bring in and they're certified organic, and they use all this product, this perfect water, this perfect soil, and this perfect, they don't bugs that are actually good for the vines instead of bugs that are bad. Or they use hawks to eat the mice and the vermins that chew on the grapes and the vines. And then you have biodynamic, which is kind of like, you line up the moons and it's time to pluck the grapes. It's like no joke. It's what they do. Gurgich Hills, which is one of the Chardonnays that we sell by the glass, they are biodynamic. And they're great. They've been around forever. They did the Judgment of Paris, I believe, 1976, and they won. And that's kind of what put Napa on the map. And what they do is they actually add tea. They put tea into the soil. And that's a biodynamic thing, and it creates all these new different flavors into the soil and the wine.
Really?
And shout out to all you Kim Crawford drinkers out there.
Yeah.
Gurgich Hills is much better.
Yes.
That's fascinating. And think about that for a minute. I mean, in the context of, and not to get political, but I'm going to do it anyway, the context of pesticides and other things that get added to the soil, get added to the plants. You are, as an oenophile, is that the right term? Oenophile? Wine expert?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sounds about right.
You are manipulating the flavor of wine based on what you're applying to the soil. You are making that come through. And yet, simultaneously, we are throwing pesticides plenty onto plants and into the soil and acting as if nothing is going to happen.
Yeah.
It is absurd, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And when you compare it to, let's say, fruits at the store, heirloom tomatoes. You ever seen one?
Of course.
Yeah, green, yellow. It's got little dots on it.
Yeah.
It looks weird.
There's a huge history. What book did I read about? I read a book about tomatoes to show you really how sad my life is off air.
No, it's
I believe
great, yeah.
I read some kind of book
No,
about tomatoes.
Yeah. It's interesting, and you look at bananas, perfectly yellow. You ever looked at a banana in the wild growing?
No,
It doesn't look
completely
like
different.
that.
Well, the whole banana thing. I mean, there's a whole. I mean, isn't there some kind of like virus that's going around on the particular type of banana that all Americans eat?
Well, that's new to me. I don't know.
That's bananas.
That's driving me bananas.
Banging my head against the microphone. No, there's a. I can't remember the name of it, but the banana that we eat, the Kavanaugh banana, is the banana that people think of.
Specific species of it, or
But it's only one of many, many, many bananas, and apparently there's some kind of
The Kavanaugh.
virus, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh.
Like Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
There we go.
Because he's bananas. Brett. Anyway, that's killing that off. But so they're manipulating the soil. They're adding things to the soil, and it was the adding of tea that brought American wine onto the international.
no,
scene?
no, it was actually so the judgment in France in Paris. There was French they were making the best wine in the world at the time, and they really wanted to kind of challenge Americans. They heard that Napa Valley had this great stuff, this juice that was like producing and making really good, waves in the wine world. So they brought them over, and Napa Valley ended up kicking France's butt and took first place in a Cabernet and a Chardonnay.
Although in truth, it was because they brought over French wine vines following the complete demolition of American wine infrastructure in the 1950s, 40s, and
the
50s, right?
Prohibition did that, and then phylloxera, which is also a bug that
was
eats the things, and we took care of them. They took care of us. It went back and forth.
What's the Viognier Chenin Blanc, the patio pounder?
The Viognier Chenin.
The Viognier Chenin Blanc. What's
that'd
the
be Pine Ridge.
Pine Ridge.
Pine
I
Ridge
think
is-
that's how they got those vines started. Actually,
Probably, yeah.
They illegally imported some vines from
Yeah.
France.
Nowadays, it's controlled highly, but in the 70s and 60s, people would just take grafts of vines and fly them over to California and
Right.
grow them.
Which is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. So
France, we saved you in World War II, and you saved our viticulture.
We'll
I call it
we'll-
even.
We'll call the Statue of Liberty even. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. All right, so here it is. Last question I'm going to ask of you before
Sure.
we run out of time on the program. Tell me, if you would, Tommy, what are perhaps the 3 best questions you can ask to understand a wine if you have a sommelier in front of you?
Sure. What does it pair well with?
Good, great.
Body, intensity, and length.
Meaning
The wine. So when you take a sip, does it have body? Does it have weight on your tongue?
solid mouthfeel.
Yep.
Mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel.
Dan, you're all about the mouthfeel.
It is.
love that word.
No, I use it all the time. People look at me, give me a weird eye. Length, how long? How long does it? Do you get the flavors? Intensity is the same thing. Is it there? Like bam, boom, and then it goes away. That's low intensity. If it stays, that's high. And then complexity. Does it change? At first, it's like, ooh, this is grape. This is fruit juice. I love all this bright fruit. And then in the end, it starts tasting like, potting soil and leather and chewing tobacco, and you get some really secondary, tertiary flavors. Though that would be 2, and then honestly, their opinion. What do they like?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know when I ask a server, I go, "What's your favorite? What's your favorite red right now, and why?"
And hope for the best, and hope that they're not just going to sell
Yeah.
you whatever they were told.
And
to.
then value too. You want to have value when you spend money on a product. We try to do that in Mill Valley, where we try not to go above and beyond on the prices.
You guys have a great wine list and great prices. Awesome. All right, well, there it is, my friends. We have drunk and talked our way through yet another episode. On behalf of our guest, Tommy Byers from Mill Valley Kitchen, our producer, Brett Johnson, and our master spirits, Dan Newkirk, I'd like to wish everybody good luck this coming week. And to quote Louis Pasteur, a bottle of wine contains more philosophy than all the books in the world. Good night, everybody.
La 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 la.